What's up YouTube, Matt here. As you can see from hands, we are doing TCG deck profile today. This one has been requested, you've seen a lot of videos for it up on the channel, so I thought it's finally time to actually show the deck. And we are here with Kairi, but the Blackwings. So this has been asked a few times now, what is your Blackwing Kairi list? So I thought, finally time to cover it on the channel. The reason I was originally holding back a little bit is because I was thinking of using it for BRO. I have now since then changed my mind. I'm not using Blackwing Kairi, so I am more than happy to show this list off now. The true list, however, I will be showing off post BRO. I'll be doing breakdown. I'm trying to record my games for it, so I can put them up on the YouTubes as well. But without further ado, let's begin. So obviously, main boss unit of the deck is Ace's Kairi. Kairi's skills are, first one, when this unit attacks, you can Soul Blast one, choose two of your rear guards, and bounce it back to your hand. Second skill is when the end of the battle this unit attacked, if you Persona Road this turn, you can choose two cards from your hand and call them two separate rows. So like usual, I'll do the Kairi explanation. This is fine, but you can't do this, you can't do this. So overall, she's a really strong boss unit. Yes, she's Persona Road locked, but there's actually more ways in the Blackwing Kairi once we get through to the combos to actually utilize this even further. So this is actually less of a restriction, but more of an actual bonus. But we'll explain when we get there. Next up, we do run our copy of Ace's Kiura as our grade 2 for the ride line. Kiura's got the skill of when this unit attacks, choose one of your rear guards and may return it to your hand. And the rear guard skill, while we don't use it in the main deck, it can be utilized in this deck, which is during the battle this unit boosted, this unit gets power plus 5,000. So this is really strong. First skill obviously allows the early aggression and you can then clear your board back to hand. Second skill, 15k attacker, really nice for the deck. But you don't use that one so much because the cards you would use to utilize this, you'd rather than be recycling Persona Rides with. Now, combo piece that actually enables the whole deck. So yeah, as we were saying, Indecisive Sky Celestial. Celestial's got two skills based on what wing she's in, but how do you get her in the wings, you may ask? Well, the wings are activated literally by riding this, because her skill is, when this unit is placed on Vanguard circle, bind the top card of your deck. Now with wings, the wing you are in is decided on what card you bind. If you bind a odd grade, so grade 1s and grade 3s, you go into white wing. But if you bind a 0 and a 2, or now, since we've actually got into it, grade 4s, you go into black wings. So, Celestial's white wing skill is when you would ride from your ride deck, you can Soul Blast one instead of discarding a card from your hand. The Blackwing skill is all of your opponent's grade 1 or less rear guards cannot attack this card. So obviously her Blackwing skill is only useful if you're actually going first, because that prevents the early aggro rush. But the Whitewing skill's good if you fail, because it lets you save resource, because soul charging is not a hard resource for this deck. So paying one Soul Blast to save your hand is really good. But unfortunately, if you do end up in White Wings, you're going to have a very hard game. And then obviously, grade 0 is the usual Ace's Meon, and it's got the usual skill of when it's rode upon, if you went second, you draw a card. So that is the ride deck. Grade 3s, we literally run 3 cards, and it's 3 more Kairis. I'm going to show the grade 1s next, because unsurprisingly, that's a nice small pile as well. 4 cards, which are 4 PGs. Obvious skill of, if you discard 1 card or less, if you've got 1 card or less when this card's placed in the Guardian Circle, you don't have to discard. Now, these are the triggers, which I'm going to put out of the way for now. But as you can see, big bulk of the deck is grade 2s. The reason behind this is obviously because we are a Blackwing deck. We want to guarantee that as much as possible that Celestial's going to hit a Blackwing, because the whole deck revolves around the grade 2 game. Everything you want to be playing is a grade 2. So we'll start off with the actual Blackwing themed support and go from there. First one up is 4 copies of Heavenly Recital and Mamiel. Mamiel's got the skill of Blackwings. End of the battle, this unit attacked was boosted. Choose a card from your soul or your rear guards. You may return it to your hand. If you choose from your soul, put this into your soul instead. So remember what I was saying earlier about utilising Persona Ride constantly or getting the cure out of soul? It all comes down to this card here. Mamiel can grab Persona Ride copies from soul to put them into your hand to then Persona Ride again next turn. You can grab combo pieces from your soul. She also helps with the early game because you can play her down whilst you're on your road Kiora. Swing with this boosted. You bounce your booster with a Mamiel, and then this bounce a Mamiel. So you've literally called a column attacked, boost, Vanguard attacks, bounce. So you've committed so much pressure but lost 0 resources out of it, which is really good for the deck. But you may be thinking, boosting in a deck focusing around grade 2s. Well, we've got the answer to that as well in Howling Ballad Baniel. Baniel's got the skill of Blackwings. When this unit is placed on rearguard circle, soul charge 1 and it gets boosted until end of turn. So this is really good for the fact of this is our literal favourite boost in the deck. The cost for gaining boost is to soul charge 1, which is what you want for the deck anyway, because you do have cards that you can use that do utilise the soul. So you can soul charge a Kairi off this, and then use a Mamiel to grab the Kairi from soul for Persona Riding. There's so much resources this provides, and being a 10k base as well, with this being a 10k, turn 2, this is a 20k column. Whilst your opponent's going to be on a 10k base, so you're forcing 15k out for this, and then still having that pressure to bounce the pieces back to hand again to utilise. This works really well also, because obviously it being on place is normally a restriction. But when you've got Kairi that can bounce it, and Mamiel can bounce it, there's so much easy ways to reutilise putting it back into hand to play down again next turn. It's actually really not a restriction. Then you're thinking to yourselves, but what if we hit White Wings? Because obviously that is going to be a big weakness of the deck. Well, we do fix that with Advent Stroke Shadile. Shadile's got 2 skills. Her first one is Act Rearguard Circle. You can counterblast 1 and put this unit into your soul. To draw a card, choose up to 1 card from your Vine Zone and it gets grade +1 until end of turn. Second skill is Blackwing's Continuous Rearguard Circle. This unit cannot be chosen by your opponent's card effects and cannot be attacked by your opponent's rearguards. So first skill is really good because obviously it fixes if we hit PG in the bind and Kairi's in the bind. So you obviously can fix your Blackwings. And the key part is she goes to soul. So in those situations you can use a Mamiel to grab Shadile back out of soul again to go back into Blackwings again next turn. Without that, you've still got the ability, you can still do her as a counterblast 1, put her to soul, not change the grade, but still draw a card out of it. So she no matter what, she replaces herself, which is really good for a card. And the second skill, however, cannot be chosen by opponent's rearguard's card effects, is really nice, but you do not have to note stuff that says target circles and attack them, or target full rows and full columns. She does not block those. So Leonard can still hit this. The likes of Clarissa can still hit this. You do have to be careful of the matchups. It's not useful in everything, but it does have some uses. Finishing up the actual Blackwings themselves, we do have 2 copies of Flight to the Yonder Shellowell. Shellowell's got the skill of Blackwings, Auto Rearguard Circle. When this unit attacks, you can counterblast 1, Soul Charge 1, choose one of your opponent's rearguards, and that unit cannot stand until during the next stand phase. So this is really good for, this is basically Mega Colony in Lyrical. This is really good for decks that do put grade 3s in the front row, because you can stun them. They then have to call over the attacker to then be able to attack with it. Or you can stun key boosters that you really don't want your opponent to get the skills off of. It's honestly really good card. It's so much thought for the deck. Plus you're getting a soul charge out of it as well. So it's like you're creating extra resources for yourself for the soul charge to then combo with a Mamiel again. Really good card. Only need it at 2 though, because it's not always going to be amazing because you've got better attackers in the deck. But it's still really good for having it as an option. Next we are going to move on to the actual supporting grade 2s that aren't the Blackwings. And we're obviously starting off with our multi-attack enabler in Brilliance and Elegance Aerith. We've got 3 copies of her. Her skill is, when this unit attacks whilst boosted, if your Vanguard is Ace's Kairi, you can counterblast 1, choose up to 1 card from your hand and call it to an open rearguard circle. So obviously this is really good for the fact obviously a Mamiel clears herself mid-battle phase, you've got Kairi clearing the field mid-battle phase. This now enables a 4th attack on turn 3, which is really strong. Obviously you do have to be careful because she has to be boosted and this has to be boosted, so it's not always going to be profitable to call off of Aerith, hence why she's at a lower number, but she's still nice having there for the options. Next card up, which has fastly become one of my favourite cards in this deck, is Charming Style Setzilla. Setzilla's got the skill of, when this unit is placed on rearguard circle from hand, if you have 3 or more other rearguards, you can counterblast 1 and draw a card. So this honestly is becoming a fast favourite of mine, because you create so much field so easily to then bounce it all back to hand that you can literally call 3 rear guards, call her down, counterblast 1, draw a card, bounce her with Kairi, end of the battle you Persona Road and call down the column again, Setzilla activates again, counterblast 1, draw a card. You do obviously have to be careful with how much you can use her, because if you use her too much counterblast wise, you then won't have the counterblast costs for Shadowell, Aerith or Shadile. But overall, she's a really strong card. I really do enjoy her. The last card I've run is 3 copies of Best Rival Train. Train's got the skill of back row rearguard circle. This unit gets boost and power minus 2000. So this is really nice for the fact obviously it's another booster for the deck. You do need boosters in this deck, otherwise you end up calling triggers down behind your units, which obviously it's not amazing calling a trigger down behind a grade 2, but sometimes it does actually have to be done. So having the extra grade 2 options gives you 7 boosters not counting triggers, which is really strong for the deck. She is obviously 9k base, so she does drop down to 7k, so it does make 17 columns instead of the 18, which would be ideal, but still having the option to be an extra booster just to combo off with a Mamiel and Aerith is just so strong. One thing I forgot to note, which I do apologise for, Setzilla is also a 9k base, so you do have to be careful. And Shadile is 8k. 8k is not too bad, because obviously that with Vanguard is still an 18k column, and obviously this is 9 and 10, so 19k column. The only issues do come down to Train, because obviously she's the booster, not the attacker. Then triggers, obviously we run 1 Gavaria, which same trigger skill as usual, of all your rear guards gain power plus 10,000 for the rest of the game, if you drive check this card. Then going to the actual trigger breakdown itself, I do run usual 5 crits, 6 draws, and 4 heals. Now the reason I do run these ratios is because Kairi does bounce a front row, and if you're doing mass combos where you've got no front row, a crit is always going to be the best. Hence why I do like the draws, because they do actually do stuff during your turns when you can't put a crit on the front row. Card that I'm not running that you could also run is Fleeting Longing Barrel. Barrel's got the skill of Black Wings. When each unit is placed on rearguard circle, choose one of your opponent's units for every 2 of your rearguards with even grades. and they get power minus 5,000 till end of turn. Then your opponent puts all their rear guards with power 0 or less on the bottom of their deck in any order. So this is really nice as an alternative option for the deck, because you can play it minus 5k to the 2 boosters, bounce it with Kairi, put it back down again, minus 5k to the 2 boosters, put them to bottom of the deck. It's really strong. Only issue is obviously it relies on so much soul board combos to do it with. Because obviously she's 3, then the Kairi's 1, then she's another 3. So it's one of the reasons I have tested it. I did enjoy it, but it's so situational that I didn't think it was worth it in the list in the end. The only situation I actually found it was worthwhile was in the Clarissa matchup, because it can return the Trilbeast back to the bottom of the deck. But outside of that, I just found the card really was not worth the effort. But that is going to be it for this video. If you haven't done so already, please do like, comment, subscribe. It very much does help the channel. And I shall catch you guys in the next video. Bye bye!